Hello! Today's stories come from r/entitled people. Today we have one large, jumbo-sized serving of shameful wedding entitlement, pulled from r/wedding shaming, but I think it was also reposted to r/bridezillas. The title of our story is My Sister is Turning into the Biggest Bridezilla, and I Can't Stop Laughing. So, a little background. I am the second youngest of 5 kids. My older siblings are 2 brothers and 1 older sister, who we'll call X for the purposes of this post. X and I have a 5-year age gap. As a result, we never really had that sisterly bond you would expect most sisters to have. Growing up, I was always a burden to her, and anytime it was my turn to pick the family movie or really anything, she would get upset. The reason being that she had control issues as early as 9. So I'm guessing you can already see where I'm going with this. I'm currently 18, about to turn 19, woohoo! And X turned 24 earlier this year. Her boyfriend, Y, proposed to her at a family beach day earlier in June of this year. It was one of those big white letters and rose petals proposals, which he set up before my family arrived. She was thrilled, said yes, and my parents were very happy, along with my older siblings. The youngest is 4, so I don't think she understood what was happening. Now, here's the drama. Since the proposal, she has gone into full bridezilla mode. At the behest of my mom, X made me a bridesmaid. So I'm roped into all the BS. So far, these are the demands my dear sister has made. All bridesmaids are to pay for their own dress, a $300 dress in blush pink, shoes, hair, and makeup. All bridesmaids need to attend all wedding and bachelorette events, including A, the bachelorette spa day, $800 each, B, the bachelorette vacation weekend to Toronto and stay at the Fairmont Hotel, a $1,000 weekend just for hotel, C, the dress appointments, even if just for the bride, all alterations covered by the person themselves, $300 dress plus approximately $300 alterations, etc. D, all things to do with wedding, cake, venue, catering, etc. they need to attend. The cake and food tasting, they all need to pay $25. E, the guests and the bridal and groom party need to pay $150 to reserve their spots. And gifts have to be either cash, check, or from the list of registry items. She has a spreadsheet of what everyone is gifting and has said she will return items that aren't from her registry or don't match her theme. My mom says it's bride anxiety. I say it's just my sister trying to control everything because she wants a December wedding on a ski hill. Ugh. Anyway, I figure if people are interested, I could update periodically on what happens. Thanks for reading. Edit. I realized I didn't include the controlling parts. My bad. Here they are. 1. All bridesmaids need to go to hair and skin appointments every 6 weeks to ensure our hair and skin is, quote, flawless for pictures. It's out of pocket too. 2. Anyone with tattoos needs to cover them. Our dresses will do that. They go to the neck, ankles, and wrists. The bride wants to be the only one sleeveless or showing her tattoos and colorful hairstyle. Either we need to get our hair dyed to a natural color or wear a wig at our own expense. 3. The dresses only come in sizes 00 to 10. Pretty good range for most, but those who don't fit are expected to try to lose weight. I'm a size 12, and already my sister is calling me fat. She sent me a keto diet book through Amazon. 4. No one, vendors, are to communicate directly to the bride or groom. It has to go through us first. She made a Gmail with last name wedding, which we all have access to, and we aren't supposed to ask her if something is okay. We should just know. This is the part that stresses mom out. 5. We need to remind the guests that they need to pay a deposit of $150 to save their spot, and if we don't get it, they don't come. We also need them to confirm what they'll purchase from the registry or the dollar amount they'll give. Edit 2. Y'all are making me realize my family isn't normal. I'm going to look into therapy with my uni and seeing if I can move into residence earlier. I want to thank the person who private messaged me about getting my mom off my bank account and also get my birth certificate, etc. I think I'm going to do that after I talk to the people at the bank. I texted my mom, I'm at work right now, if her, dad, and I can talk about it while X is gone to her fiancé's for the night. I'm hoping to show my mom and dad this post to help them understand where I'm coming from. Edit 3. I'm going to take some time away from this alt, just because a lot of you are right. This isn't normal. Our relationship as a family is not normal. I called my aunt while I was at work. For those of you who don't know, she's my godmother, and she thinks my mom is nuts. And we talked about it. She's encouraging me to talk to my parents about everything, not only the wedding, but favoritism, etc., since childhood. And she's also on standby in case it hits the fan. My shift at work finishes in a few more hours. Then I'll go home and pack a quick bag of stuff for my aunt to grab before my parents and I talk. Relevant comments collected and formatted by u/GluixKind11. Comment: overall, she's going to have to accept that finances rule a lot of people's lives and that if she's not going to come back down to earth, it's going to keep people from being able to participate, like you. OP. That's what I try to tell her, but she won't listen. Her fiance makes 120K plus a year as a tech dude, and she's an accountant making 100K herself, so it's easy for her to afford this. Comment: tell your mom and sister that you won't participate until someone pays all of your costs. Your mom should not try to keep the peace when your sister is a raging harpy. I hope her fiance backs out. OP. He won't. He loves her spice. He's a very calm man, though, so they match really well. He's the only one who can calm her down. Comment: how does his family feel about the admission fee to his wedding? OP. It's normal on his side of the family. They say it's normal in Italian families, which I just found out it isn't. Comment: this is insane. I completely agree with you, OP. OP. The problem for me is that I can't afford it without going into debt for my student loans. Interest on student loans right now is 26%, so I'm scared to be in debt. Comment: tell your mom you don't have the sort of money being a bridesmaid for sister will involve. Tell sis she is free to include you out of the wedding party. You will probably find that you will lead the charge. OP. She has 13 bridesmaids, 12 bridesmaids, one maid of honor, and it's to match the fraternity class of her fiancé. He had 13 people he became brothers with in his class. I don't know what it means, but it's special. So if I drop out, 2 of the guys would need to walk together. Comment: let them. OP. I should. Important comment by OP. I have talked to her. She says it's my job, as her sister, to save up. Mom and dad are paying for the wedding almost 100K, so they can't give me the 2K for my expenses. I'm going to uni in the fall and my tuition is 17K. Comment: weird parental choices here. 100K for a wedding, but let a child pay their own tuition? Did your sister go to college? I'd be asking my parents to pay my college fees, etc., and tell them I won't want a 100K wedding. Equal money to the kids. Also, if they can spring for 100K, then what's another 2? OP. Tuition has always been ours to pay. Mom and dad save money for everyone's wedding and honeymoon. Update Part 1, 1 week later. Firstly, I just wanted to apologize for how long this has taken. My parents originally planned to talk that night, but mom said she wasn't feeling good and decided to go to sleep early, around 6 p.m. And that feeling stayed for a while. We then got busy moving my sister into her fiance's place, and by the time everything settled, my parents forgot we had something to discuss and kind of brushed it off to the side. We finally had the conversation 2 days ago, and I needed a day to think and just react to things. So, turns out my dad never knew the whole story. He knew he was responsible for paying for my sister's dress and a portion of the wedding or honeymoon. The reason for this is that my parents told me, dad confirmed with bank records, that my parents had been setting up 25K accounts for myself and each of my siblings. The rule was that these accounts could be used for anything once we turned 19 and went off to post-secondary. It was our money to use. I just turned 19 and my dad was getting ready to sign the money over to me when we had this conversation, which caused a bit of a blow up, but right now I need to give some background info I was given. Right after sister got engaged, she apparently had a conversation with my mom about how she always felt like the child left out. She's used this line before, so I do believe my mom fell for it and was guilt-tripped. As a result of a very long conversation, my mom figured that she could divert some of the funds from all the kids' accounts to pay for sister's wedding. For those wondering, my 2 older brothers are in the military. They aren't married yet and live on base. They never use their 25K because the Army in Canada pays for your education, housing, etc. So, my mom had 50K at her disposal. Then combined with my sister's and my 25K, it would have been 100K. Mom figured that because I had 17K saved up, she could just give me my 25K later for a car or a house payment or wedding. Ugh. Sister did this because, again, she is a master manipulator. Side note, thank you to the wonderful Redditors who sent me to various subreddits for narcissism and support, along with those who sent articles on it to me. and possible narcissist. She used some of my mom's mental and physical health conditions against her. When I was born, my mom went through very bad postpartum depression, resulting in her leaving to a treatment facility for 4 months, leaving my sister, two brothers, me, and dad behind. My two older brothers were 9 and 7 at the time, and me, only a few months. Sister, for reference, was 5 or just shy of 5. I honestly don't care to calculate. Since my brothers were trouble, my dad had his hands full, and a live in nanny did the stuff for me. So my sister had little to no attention at an age where attention is important. I think that triggered the bad sides of her to come out. While the nanny did help sister with basics food, water, bath, clothes, a little play she wasn't a replacement for mom. When mom came back, sister had a huge grudge, but not to mom, to me. I was the reason mom left, which led to her trying to smother me with a pillow. Mom caught her in time, and it was a funny story for us as a family. Turns out that's a coping mechanism. Over my childhood, sister has used manipulation to get what she wants, and she did it for the wedding too. Mom felt bad and decided to give her little dove everything she desired. Common things I heard growing up were, "You always give OP XYZ. I want this." Proceeds to have a meltdown. As sister grew up, it wasn't little toys and candy anymore, but girls' trips. As a result of this, dad and I grew very close. He's my best friend. My sister and I had a decent relationship when I was 12 to 14, but it changed again when mom got pregnant with youngest sister. It was an accident. And I became the target again for sister's rage and abuse. While I know it doesn't excuse a lot of things, I figured it would be important to give you all the whole story. Update Part 2. So now with the back info done, here's what happened. A day after sister moved out, I asked my mom and dad to please finally have the convo with me. Mom was feeling better, so we sat down and were talking. I told them how I felt, how much of a financial toll it would be on me, how it wasn't fair, etc. Well, dad blew up. He didn't know about the 100K or the things sister was doing, etc. He didn't like the fact that mom used a lot of your father and I agree talk, even though they hadn't. I showed group chat screenshots. We worked through the wedding issue. I don't have to attend. And the 25K for me issue, dad is signing it over early. Then I was asked to go to my room for a bit because dad and mom wanted to talk. They settled the budget issue on their own. Dad then asked why I didn't feel comfortable to talk to them earlier, so I showed them this post. My dad snapped. He immediately called my sister and told her to come here ASAP because he needed to talk to her and would not accept excuses. She said she would be here in 4 hours because she was with fiancé and his parents. Dad pressed, and she hung up and blocked him. Dad told me to go to my room once again, but to leave my phone so they could go over the post and see the comments. I don't know exactly what happened, but mom came to talk to me later. She then told me about the postpartum depression, etc. I didn't know about it earlier. We solved our issues, and I finished by asking if sister would go to therapy. Because mom's convinced that the 4-month leave caused this stuff in her, mom said she'd try but can't force. I told her, if sister doesn't go, I'm going no contact with her and possibly low contact with mom. Dad then joined the convo and assured me I would get my money, and I wouldn't have to go to the wedding if I didn't want to. Since sister is charging $150 per guest, she can pay for her grandiose wedding through that. Soon to be brother in law and his family aren't paying for crap, apparently. So now they have to, or sister doesn't get to have her ski hill wedding. Speaking of the $150 fee, y'all were right. It was sister who concocted the whole thing and told mom it was an Italian thing. We talked to sister's mother in law when she dropped sister off. Sister doesn't drive, and mother in law was shocked that sister had said that. There is apparently a money dance, but no $150 fee. So, on to what happened when sister came back. She came after 5 hours, and while mother in law was there, she was sweet as pie. But when mother in law left, oh Lord, the gates to hell broke loose. She demanded why dad disturbed the peaceful evening and demanded he drive her back. Dad said he didn't care and to sit down. She refused. They fought. Finally, she sat down after dad started pulling out various tricks, including money or telling mother in law about sister's true nature, which I guess fiancé hasn't seen much of. I was excused to my room again. There was a lot of angry yelling back and forth and a lot of manipulation from sister, including threats of low contact or no seeing possible grandkids in the future. She was trying to get mom to go back to original plan, the 100K plan, and mom and dad weren't budging. The fighting continued and stopped when my dad yelled saying mom is in her punching bag and her postpartum depression was not her fault. And if she was that angry about it, go to therapy. After that, I was called back down and we went over all the issues. Starting with the keto book, sister tried to defend, saying I was fat and lazy. Dad defended me. Sister started to cry, and mom told dad to be a little softer, which he did. We finally discussed everything, and I felt like part of the family instead of like a punching bag. Sister eventually got an Uber and left because she was, quote, being attacked. We were going to wait until Christmas time when brothers are back in town so we can all discuss what we need as a family to go forward and be healthy. But it will most likely be therapy or cutting sister out. Mom and dad are still figuring out the full budget issue with my sister's in laws. My parents told them that for such a wedding to happen, everyone would need to contribute. In laws agreed that $100,000 for a wedding is insane. Last I heard, sister will get her $15K for the wedding, which is basically $5K because $10K dress, since it's already ordered. The other $10K is being held for something tangible. And then her in laws are being generous and helping with $15K, 10 to wedding, 5 to honeymoon. As for my schooling, Dad and I are going to the bank tomorrow and we're going to pay the cancellation fee for the loan I had to take out. The loan only officially starts when I start school, so thankfully the cancellation fee is very small. My dad is paying for the fee because he admits that I should have never had to take the loan out. My parents agreed that my first year of university, along with housing costs, will not come out of my budget, the $17K or the $25K, so they will pay themselves. The full amount that they budgeted for me is going to be transferred into something called a tax-free savings account for later in life. Well, mom and I still have a somewhat rocky relationship. Sister absolutely hates me. She blamed me for everything and said that I have caused irreparable damage to her relationship with her fiancé and in-laws. Because of this, she's banned me from the wedding and from her life. I honestly don't care. I don't really see it as losing a sister, I see it as losing a bully. I made a promise to my mom and dad that I would never treat my younger sister like that. I'm going to be the role model she deserves, and I'm going to be her protector like my brothers and my father were for me. I think I covered everything that needs to be covered, but if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'm very thankful for the subreddit for teaching me what a real family is about and for teaching me about boundaries and communication. Have an amazing life, you gorgeous humans. Relevant comments. One thing I want to bring up that seemed to be blown over: your sister tried to murder you. That is a big deal. I hope that, in therapy, you take the time to talk about this. It's a huge deal. It's traumatic, and the fact that your parents used it as a funny story is not okay. It's awful, and I sincerely hope that you really force your mom to address why she allowed this behavior to happen. Why didn't she put your sister in therapy right then and there? It's important to get answers to these questions, and your sister owes you an apology. You may also want to consider making sure her fiancé knows about the money she demanded. He deserves to know what he is getting into. OP. Mom and dad didn't make it a funny story at first. It was sister mainly saying, "Oh, but it was a joke, it was a joke." When we were older, of course, because my parents never left me alone with my older sister. Either they were in the room or my eldest brother was beside me. It was only after I was 10 or 11 and my sister and I started to have an okay relationship that the joke was made. I forgave her and honestly thought it was a joke. I now know it wasn't, and she hated me since day one. As for the therapy, I forgot to mention she did go from 7 to 10. Originally, it was just a doctor who spoke to her once a month from 4.5-ish to 6.5-ish. But she learned how to say exactly what they wanted to hear, so they discontinued the need for visits. My dad was okay with this. My mom wanted the second opinion and found the best child psychologist in Alberta for my sister, and they took her on for 3, almost 4 years. Towards the end, they said they taught her everything and helped her with trauma, etc. But I feel like she just became really good at telling them what they wanted to hear. As for her fiancé, he knows. I texted him a long text and voice message, and we talked on the phone for 2 hours. At the end, he just kind of shrugged it off. In hindsight, I think he was in on it. He also displays some concerning traits. Comment: do your parents feel like they failed your sister, letting her go on like this for so long? She was neglected and tried smothering you with a pillow, and it was a family joke? I feel like your parents are dumping all the mistakes they made as a her problem when they're just as involved. OP. I definitely do think it played a role. She showed signs of some concerning behavior as a toddler, pushing, biting, purposely hurting my brothers or kids in daycare. But I think the thing that really broke her was not having mom. Dad had the boys, the nanny had me mainly and her. My aunt handled the motherly things for her, but she's no replacement for mom. The problem is that while things did get better when I was 12, sister talked to me about why she hated me, how she thought I was taking up attention, etc. And at 14, she started hating me again because little sister was in mom's belly. I do know that my sister went to therapy from ages 7 to 10 because she had a grudge against mom, and when mom stepped in to protect a then 3 to 6-year-old me, sister would take it out on the house, mom, or would yell at the dog. Comment: therapists often wait until a person is over 18 to diagnose borderline personality disorder, hoping that a kid will grow out of the behaviors as an adult. People with borderline personality disorder are often master manipulators and can fool therapists by masking their behaviors, lying about their actions, and lying about how they feel in a very believable way, almost like an actor playing a role. They always have a reason in their head for why they are doing what they do, which can fool others who do not see both sides of the story. OP. Ah, well, crap. I'm about to go down another rabbit hole. My sister will refuse to go to a doctor, though, unless it was to prove she was right all along. Lint Liquor didn't even let me have a Loopsy doll without stealing it and burning the damn thing. Comment: going no contact seems to be the best option for people around those with untreated borderline personality disorder. Don't feel bad about it. Your life will be much more peaceful without the drama and crazy accusations. Don't worry about getting your sister into therapy either. Therapy only works if you are honest and willing to change. Often, people with borderline personality disorder are neither. You should look into therapy for yourself. I did, and it really helped me along with reading forums for families dealing with these kinds of issues. Parents are often enablers who try to keep the family together out of a desire for normalcy. But having a disordered sibling is anything but normal. Once you recognize it's not normal, you can begin to heal. OP. Yeah, mom has a therapy session this Monday for the money and guilt trip thing. Her and dad have couples therapy after. I'm starting therapy on my own for a plethora of things. My brothers, well, they're hundreds of kilometers away, so I don't know what's going on with them. And sister is playing house. Little sister wasn't there when the argument happened. We made sure she had a play date with her friend from daycare. Well, that Bridezilla story unraveled into some pretty serious family drama. Am I right? I have to say, OP seems pretty level headed, considering, and it's great that she ended up with having her first year in university pretty much covered. I don't have much to add on the wedding and costs because the comments do a fine job with that topic. Let's check them out. Someone said, I don't understand why so many people want to start their lives together by throwing a party so far beyond their means that they expect their families and guests to pay for it. In response, I can't imagine hating my friends and family so much that I demand they pay $150 to attend my wedding. Someone else replied, I see it as a sort of weeding out the fakes move. Whoever sucked up and paid to attend are the real ones, and those who didn't pay or attend are the fakes that the bridezilla gets to gleefully and dramatically cut out of her life. Robotic Seagull added, I'd be mighty suspicious of anyone willing to pay $150 to attend an event for me. Harry Saxon said, I was in a very expensive wedding once. The bride's dress cost $10K. The cake was something like $50K, and a Food Network show had an episode about it. I'd bet it was $250,000 or more. The difference? The groom's family was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. But I guess people see things like that on Food Network and have to have them. Poet and Know It replied, a $50,000 cake? Seriously? I love cake, but I can't even wrap my head around one that's worth 50 grand. Was the frosting made out of gold and silver? Harry Saxon responded, it was over 6 foot tall and weighed hundreds of pounds and was designed and decorated by a famous pastry chef. Renegade Run said, I'm honestly afraid to post about my family dynamics on Reddit for fear that I'll find out how messed up they are. Someone replied, I'm finding out that as bad as I think my family is, there are plenty that are far worse. This is not, in fact, comforting. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.